Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kristen, this is my booktube, and in today's video we are going to be organizing my bookshelves. I've been saying that this is something that I want to do for literally months since I moved into this apartment, and it is well past time that I just get it done. I have all of these books that are just kind of stacked on top of my shelves, and even the books that are fully in the shelves are not organized in the way that I want them to be. They're like vaguely organized by like fiction on this side, nonfiction on this side, but there's no organization past that very general one that I did just when I got the books out of the boxes. I'll show you in more detail how messy these shelves are, because from the shot that you're seeing right now, they don't look that messy, and that's because I keep these ones pretty clean because this is my primary filming location. But the tall ones on the side have a lot of books that do not belong on the shelves that they are stacked on. So you might be looking at these shelves and thinking to yourself, there's no way you have enough room for all of these books. You're gonna have to have some not be on the shelves. And fret not, I do have another empty bookcase in my bedroom that is the same size as these two shorter ones behind me. So I have a whole other bookcase to fill up with books. So all of the books that you see stacked on these shelves right now do have a shelf that they can go on. I just need to get the books organized. This will probably be a most of the day, if not all day endeavor. So I have some audiobooks to listen to. I have some documentaries to put on to listen to so that I can keep powering through even when I don't want to do it anymore, because that will happen. I will lose motivation and I will want to quit. But this is something that I need to get done, and I feel like the time pressure of doing it for a YouTube video will help me actually get it done. So yeah, the first thing that I need to do before I can actually start taking the books off the shelves and start organizing them is I want to make sure that all of these books are added to my Goodreads profile, and that I have added them to the shelf that I have in Goodreads called Personal Library, so that I can keep track of all of the books that I do own, know how many books I have, and be able to reference that when I am out at like a Half Price Books or other used bookstores in the area. It just makes it so much easier to know what books I have at home already by looking at the app. And I have already done a good chunk of the books that are on these shelves. I have about 300 that I've scanned so far. A couple weeks ago, I did sit down and scan through, I think, all of this tall bookshelf to my right, but that's the only one that I've gone through entirely. So we still have these two bookcases and the tall one on the other side. So there's a lot of book scanning to be done, but then once we're done with that, then we get to figure out how to organize the books. And the problem with how I aesthetically like books to be is that I want them to be easy to find, but I also want them to look good next to the other books that they're placed with. So that means that I probably won't do by author name, just because there are so many inconsistencies with the sizing of the books that I don't think I will enjoy how it will look if I organize it by author. Even though that's like the standard way to do it, it makes the most sense. I don't think that's the way that's gonna work for me in this situation. What I've done in the past is I've organized them by size. So I would have like these bigger ones, like these Book of the Month books, all the way to the left of the bookcase, and then the size of the books got smaller as I placed books going from left to right. And I feel like that looked okay, but I also enjoy the aesthetic of organizing by color. So I don't know, I need to pull out the books, make sure that they're organized in fiction versus nonfiction, because I do want to keep that general divide between these books. And from there, I think I'm just gonna start stacking books on the floor in piles of things that I think it goes with, things that I think it will look good with on a shelf, and go from there. So yeah, that is a very vague plan of what I'm gonna do today. And hopefully by the end of this, we have a better, more aesthetic looking bookcase. That is the goal after all. With all that, I think that is about it for the intro of this video. It's already getting kind of long. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into starting to scan these books into Goodreads and then organizing them. Okay, so just for an overview, this is what the shelves are currently looking like. They're not like totally disorganized. Most of the stuff that's on here is book related related or is a book. So it's not like messy, but I definitely want to reorganize, get these books that are stacked sideways into a place where they actually like look like they belong. And then there are like a few little other like odds and end type things that are up here that I'm not entirely sure what to do with, but I'm sure I'll find places for them in the end. That's just a quick overview. Don't mind, this is part of my tripod, don't mind that. But this is a quick overview of what it looks like right now, and hopefully we will have a nice little after shot where it looks a little more organized and more purposeful than these random like stacks on the shelves. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. Alright guys, it is the next day. I just got out of bed. It is about 8 o'clock right now. And as you can see, the shelves behind me, pretty empty. I got through generally organizing the books by like topic or genre, things like that. And then it got to be 9 o'clock. So I was tired and I decided just to go to bed and finish the rest today. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna make myself a quick cup of coffee. Then we're gonna tackle all of this stuff. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of all of the stacks that I have on the ground because there are a lot. And then we'll just hop right into getting them back on the shelves, getting them organized. I do need to dust some of these shelves still, so I will be doing that as well. And then hopefully we can get this done pretty quickly and I can have my nice aesthetic bookshelf looking good again, with just a little bit more organization this time. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so these are all my stacks. These are more of the like history nonfiction books. And then all of the fiction books are down on that end. So we can start over here with the nonfiction. Most of these are history books or things of the like. These are my crime history books. These are my books about England in the 20th century. These are my books about England in the Victorian era. These are some sociology books. These are Tudor time period books. Behind that we have Stuart time period books. Then we have this one nutrition book. This is the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, my only book about North Africa. These ones are Middle Ages / Dan Jones books in general. These are the couple books that I have from my Black Power movement class I took in undergrad. These ones are just kind of like random topics, things like the history of poisons, the making of the modern home, murder in Victorian London, things like that. These ones are all about American history. This is more general Irish and UK history. And then these are more of my European history books. And that's pretty much it for all the history ones. Then I have the rest of my nonfiction books, which this stack has a lot of like memoirs and other nonfiction books by like Maya Angelou. I have some Maggie O'Farrell books, more like autobiographical type stuff. And over here I have some more autobiographical type stuff. And these are like more just general nonfiction books. My 2 self-help books. Those are gardening gloves. You can ignore those. Then moving farther down, we have this stack of poetry. I have my English to Spanish dictionary, some Irish folk tales, some travel guides. These are all like Greek/Roman mythology. These are like random garden books or other kind of coffee table books. There's some about skincare in here. So there's a mix of books in this stack. This one I got from Q the last time I was in London, and it was just so pretty. And it talks about the traditional uses of plants in folklore, magic, medicine, and things like that. And the rest of these books are pretty much the same. Then these are 2 books from a government class that I took that I just haven't gotten rid of. Kind of similar to this one. This is a companion reader for Dante's Inferno that one of my professors made in undergrad. So I made sure to keep that because at the time I had full intentions of reading the other 2 parts of the Divine Comedy, not just Inferno, but I wanted to read Purgatory and Paradise as well. Never got around to it, but if I ever do, I got all 3 of the companion guides in this one book. Then these are my romances. I read a lot more romances that are in this stack, but these are the ones that I own. And then these 2 stacks are historical fiction. The only reason they are in separate stacks is because I didn't want one stack getting too tall and then falling over and knocking over other ones. So we have 2 smaller stacks for that. Okay, so these 3 stacks are all classics. I have a lot of classics. These 2 stacks are more like my YA/books that I read when I was younger. And then this is my horror stack. It's mostly Stephen King. And then we have these 3 stacks that are thrillers or murder mysteries. And then these ones are more like general fiction. We have some Greek retellings. And then these are fantasies. And then I have 1 sci-fi novel, and then I wasn't really sure where to place The Handmaid's Tale. So I'll probably just put it with like one of these general fiction ones because it kind of feels a little dystopian, kind of feels a little science fiction-y, but it's not like enough, I guess, to be in its own genre. I don't know. Kind of similarly to why I put this one in general fiction. I know it's about witchcraft, so you'd think it would go with the fantasy ones, but it just doesn't have that fantasy vibe to it. It feels more like a general fiction with a dash of magic, which is why I put it with a general fiction. So yeah, those are all the stacks. As you can tell, I haven't taken any of these Agatha Christie books off the shelf. I haven't touched my encyclopedias or these other reference books down here. And I don't think I plan to. I kind of like where they are now. I like how they look aesthetically. My Agatha Christie ones are already in the order I want them to be in, so I'm just gonna kind of fill in the shelves around. Yeah, and here you can see how dusty these shelves are. And then lastly, I have all of my book of the month books right here, which I'm going to move into my bedroom today and put them on my bookshelf in there. And the only reason I'm doing that is because even though these books are very aesthetically pleasing, they're very pretty, the problem is that I get a new one every single month. So if I keep them out here and like fill up my bookcases, then next month I'm not going to have room for my next book of the month books. So I thought it would be better just to move them into my room on the empty bookcase in there so that I have plenty of room for them. So yeah, that is the status update of what I have going on so far. And yeah, let's go ahead and just get them all back up on the shelves so that I can move on with my life, shall we? I've finished the books in the living room, and here is how the shelves are looking right now. It's still kind of the basic organization that I had from the beginning, where this big shelf and then most of these two middle shelves are all fiction. And then this is my nonfiction shelf on the end. And then from there, I just kind of organized them by like genre and took the stacks that I had in front and kind of arranged them on the shelves. So we'll just go through it real quick. These are just books that I thought would look good stacked on top of each other on top of the fiction shelf. Other than all of these being fiction, they don't necessarily have anything else tying them together. And then as far as the shelves go, starting here, we have all of my thrillers continuing onto this shelf and then also continuing here until this little gap. That's where I pulled out this Secret History of Witches. And then starting here and going that way, we have more of the general fiction and continuing here until you hit my Agatha Christie books, which continue down onto the bottom shelf until you get to here. And then these are my few horror books and then this one bigger Agatha Christie book at the end. Then on the shorter shelf, we have these are pretty much all classics. I tried to keep all of like my Penguin classics together and my Signet classics, Bantam, Barnes & Noble. I tried to keep them together like that because they do kind of match each other and they look good next to each other. And then down here, kind of similar, I have books by similar publishers. They're the Barnes & Noble ones. And then these are more like mixed publishers, but they're about the same height. So I put them all together. And then at the bottom is my encyclopedia set. Nothing special there. Then on this shelf, we have historical fiction and then romance. And then it kind of goes into some of the young adult novels that I have and then the Greek mythology retellings and stuff. And then down here, clearly we have all my Harry Potter books, some other YA type books, my Hunger Games books. This is another YA series that I read in high school, and then Throne of Glass right next to it. And then this last shelf is mostly like reference books that my parents got with these encyclopedias. Some children's classic books. These are like self-help books that I don't particularly care that much about, so they're just down here where they fit. This is an old textbook from undergrad, and then I have my yearbooks and stuff. Then on this last shelf, this is all of my nonfiction stuff. Once again, these are just the books that I thought would look good stacked on top of each other next to my little welcome sign that one of my friends got me years and years ago at this point. Then starting on this shelf, we have all of my Victorian history books continuing onto this shelf. And then it goes into 20th century history. And then it kind of jumps backward in time and we get into the Tudors and the Stuarts and stuff. And I know that that's a weird way to organize this, like you'd think I would go chronologically, but I have so many Victorian history books because that's what I wrote my master's dissertation on, and they are low-key my favorite ones, so I wanted them on the top shelf. So it's not in chronological order, but you don't have to look at it all day, so that's my problem. So yeah, we have the Victorians going into a little bit of 20th century history with like these 3 or 4 right here. And then we get into the Tudor period, a little bit of the Stuarts at the end. And then on this shelf, we have more of the Plantagenets and Dan Jones books, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, a little bit of Irish history, this random London book. And then from about here on are more of the kind of mismatched history topic books. Like there's a lot of random ones in here. Like this one is about the history of alcohol. This one's about Marie Antoinette, Georgiana of Devonshire. Then there's one like this, History's Dumbest Crimes. So there's kind of a mixed bag on this shelf, and that's kind of like my miscellaneous spot. And then on this shelf, we have more of my like US history books. And then it moves into the rest of the world history that I have, which is mostly European with like one North Africa book. And then the last shelf on this side has all of my poetry books and other nonfiction books by other celebrities and things. And then some sociology at the end. So here we have some of my Shel Silverstein books, more poetry, Walt Whitman, some of my friends' books. Then we have some Maya Angelou, and then this gets into more of the like memoir kind of stuff. We have my one nutrition book, and then from here over is like sociology and philosophy stuff. So yeah, that is an overview of what is in my living room on my bookshelves right now. I do still have stacks of books on my bed, and I'm going to go put those away on the bookshelf in my room really fast, and then we will be done with the book reorganization for now. I'm happy with how this looks for now. So I probably won't be moving any books around again until I either get more and I run out of room, or I get bored with the way that they look. In any case, for now, this is how the living room will be staying. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the bedroom done, and then we can move on with the day. Alrighty friends, and that is basically it for this video. I have finished organizing my books, at least as much as I'm willing to organize them right now. So we're gonna say that that's the end of this video. I am in desperate need of a shower. I did spill my coffee on my shirt, so that's fun. And now I have like coffee on my face, coffee on my shirt, in my hair, because it did spill into my hair as well. So I need to go clean myself up now. But overall, I am glad that I got my books a little more organized. I would have liked to keep my book of the month books in the background of these videos, but because it's an ever expanding collection and I get a new one every month, I would much rather just rearrange that smaller shelf in my room when I need the space rather than try to finagle around all of these books. But I could also change my opinion on that in the future and decide to move them back out here at some point. And if that does happen, I am sure that I will make a video out of it, because why not, you know? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me rearranging my books and trying to be a little more organized and not just have piles of books everywhere when I have a perfectly good extra bookcase not being used. Oh, I almost forgot to mention that as I was doing all of this rearranging, I was scanning the books into Goodreads and adding them to my personal library shelf so that I can kind of keep track of how many books that I own. I obviously didn't scan every single book that I own into there. Like, I'm not gonna put all of these encyclopedias in there. That's just a waste, I feel like, because these aren't like fun reading books. These are research reference books that are heavily outdated. So adding them to my Goodreads account just doesn't seem like the right move. So there are more books that I own and more books that are on these shelves than what I scanned into Goodreads. But as far as the literature books that are made for like standard reading for pleasure, reading for historical research, sociological research, that kind of thing, I did add all of those to this bookshelf. So in the end, after I scanned all of the books before rearranging them, I ended up with 435 books on my personal library shelf in Goodreads. And since we didn't count all of the books that I own, just to be safe, we can tack on like another 25 to 30 books because like none of these are in there. I honestly didn't know how many books that I had before starting this endeavor, and I am a little surprised. I thought it would be around like 350, 400 books, but we're actually pushing closer to 500. So that's fun. If you ever wondered what about 500 books looks like displayed on bookcases, apparently it takes about 2 full-size bookcases and 3 of these little half bookcases. So if you also have about 500 books and you are wondering how many bookcases you'll need to store them, that is the amount. But yeah, in any case, I need to end this video. I need to go take a shower and get on with my day. But if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. Let me know. You should also subscribe while you're down there because I put out new videos every single weekend. And yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Yeah.